All right, so we got something from Italy, where my ancestors are coming from, and it came from Bone. Oh no, Zello Bone Persico. And all right, let's get this open in fast motion. I like the stamps actually. Let's check it out. Leonardo da Vinci, and then we got what's this? Oh my God, I'm blind. Piazza della. Piazza della Signoria. I'm Italian. I can't pronounce this crap. Firenze means, I think, Florence. And we got it again. All right, let's opie. Okay, in Italian, what the heck? I love these customs forms. I think it's so funny. He wrote, con nicetta, popa fatto. I can't read that. Porataforo, mignon. And I think mignon means little in French. Maybe he knows French. By the way, his name is Marco, and he's my new friend because I've been buying a lot of stuff. This is item number 5 from Marco. And by the way, this smart man put the value as $15 euro. I can assure you I paid a lot more than $15 euro. Why do they do that? Because they will rob your package if you put a high value on it. So this guy is really good to me. I always make him offers on his holy relics. Now this is a Saint Pope Pius X relic. Now I think this is number 9 or 10 in my collection. I just love this saint. And every time I do business with this guy, he lists these for like $300, and I always offer him $100, and he usually always accepts it. Oh, there goes the dogs. Ignore them. The mailman's here. So these almost always are supposed to come with some kind of certificate with the postular general or whatever Holy Catholic sect. Like, for example, the Franciscans or the Augustinians or the Passionists. And it's missing 9 times out of 10. But we have the wax seal. And this is really astonishing that we still have this, and it's dated 1954, the year he was canonized. That little number up there would have corresponded to a actual certificate that would be numbered with that number that you see right there. Really quite cool. This is the real deal, even though it does not have its original certificate with it. So let's try, if we can, if my stupid camera will focus, let's try to zoom in on that white outfit that he was wearing. Sometimes they call this ex indumentus or ex, ex habitus, or, there's all different terms for this in Latin. But there we go. Look at that. You can see the threads and everything from this really amazing historical relic. So people that collect these think that first-class relics are the most important, but I really like second-class relics because second-class relics are something that the saint used in life or wore in life. So it's very, very sacred to have an article of, for example, the clothing of the saint. And you can see on the left, he's wearing his white cassock, which is actually right there in the relic. And I find that really fascinating and exciting that I have a piece of they must have cut a tiny square from his coat, as you can see. I don't know what they call it. I think a cassock or a house coat, but popes always wore white. And this is really a great relic, and I'm so happy to have it amongst my first class St. Pope Pius X relics as well. What really cracks me up is he was so used to wearing his darker colored when he was, a priest and, a darker colored coat. And he constantly, back then they had fountain pens and dipping pens, and it used to smear all over the place. And they had pen wipers, and he would actually wipe his pen on his dress or whatever you want to call his coat. And he was scolded when he became Pope because he wore white. And he kept wiping his pen, not remembering that he was wearing white. And he would smear the ink all over his white house coats or cassocks or cossacks or whatever you call them. And I just find that quite comical. He's very, very funny. All right, so let's find out a little bit more about him and why he might be a controversial figure in today's day and age with the onset of modernism and what I call a clown world. So Pope Pius, or Saint Pope Pius X, did not like fancy things. He did not like to wear fancy clothing. They had to sort of force him to do so in most of his pictures. Miracles attributed. He started in 1903 as Pope. He was credited with many healing miracles. He returned a man's paralyzed arm to life and cured an Irish girl covered in sores. Now, this Pope had a lot of foot problems his whole entire life. Really bad foot problems. But his sock cured another girl's foot disease. Now, when he found that out, he laughed because he said, my sock does me no good. And he was like mystified by how his sock cured somebody else's foot problems, but not his own. A nun with abdominal cancer was cured after she swallowed a bit of his clothing. Quite interesting, I have to say. I mean, isn't that quite interesting? Wow. Just wow. So he was way ahead of his time. So he was Pope from 1903 to 1914, but it's like he's talking about today's day and age. So here's his quote: liberal Catholics are wolves in sheep's clothing. He hated modernists. He was a traditionalist, and he believed in keeping the church the way it was from the beginning and up until then and forever. And so there was people like Darwin and all these philosophers who came up with the way people and humans evolved. And it was in sort of like, what's the word? Like it was like against what the church, stated. And so he had a battle with these modernists. These modernists wanted to make the Catholic Church evolve into something different, not like the original Catholic Church should have been. And so he was battling them. He would put spies in the church, and he would have people actually ratting out other people. You might think this is a little extreme, like he's an extremist or a right-winger, or whatever you want to call him. But his quote, that liberal Catholics are wolves in sheep's clothing, is almost like today's virtue signaling. Now, me, as personally, I can't stand virtue signaling people. People that tell you, oh, that's terrible. I do this and this, and I feed the hungry, and I go to the homeless shelters, and I do this, and I do that. Like those type of people that virtue signal. I think they just try to do things like that to make themselves elevated. Like, I'm so much more superior than you. And so here's what his statements were. Let priests take care not to accept from the liberal any ideas which, under the mask of good, pretend to reconcile justice with iniquity. And that's virtue signaling. So this guy said this over 100 and something years ago. Basically what we're going through now. Liberal Catholics are wolves in sheep's clothing. The priest must unveil to the people their perfidious plot, their iniquitous design. You will be called a papist, a clerical, a retrograde, intolerant. And in today's thing, they'll call you a fascist. They'll call you a homophobe. They'll call you a racist. And you see where we're going here? It's like he foretold the future. You will be called all these things, but pay no heed to the derision and mockery of the wicked. Aha! Have courage. You must never yield, nor is there any need to yield. See, he was telling us, do not back down from these people that try to virtue signal and tell you that you are a fascist, a racist, a homophobe. Pretty much those things don't mean that you are to back down. You are to stand up and to stand up proud, okay? You must go into the attack mode. Well, the attack wholeheartedly, not in secret, but in public, not behind barred doors, but in the open, in the view of all. So he's telling us actually even today, not to stand down to these virtue signalers who will actually try to cancel you. It's like basically he's calling out cancel culture. So if somebody says, I went into this store and this person, didn't treat me the way I wanted to. And then they go on, I don't know, Yelp, or they go on Google reviews and say, try to bring the whole business down. This person was a fascist behind the counter. You know what I'm saying? I like this Pope more and more the more I read about him. So today, I wonder what they would be calling him. Can you imagine? all the virtue signalers and cancel culture. Do you think he would have let them cancel him? I don't know about that. And we need a pope like this today. Really, really, really desperately need a pope like this today. Okay, so here he is in his reliquary. And these reliquaries are not cheap. You can get them on Amazon for a bargain compared to if you go on a Catholic supply shop online or wherever. But generally, these are running like a small one, a tiny palm size one, will run you like $55 for a reliquary that's not even pretty. But these could be about anywhere. You can find a halfway decent one like this for about $50 on Amazon. But the more fancier ones around there are in like the $100 to $150 price range. Always place your relic in a reliquary. Keep it protected. You don't want them to get damaged. All right, so this is really, really something else. I love Pope Pius X. Think he was based. I like based people, like logical thinkers, you know. Do I agree with him 100% on everything? No. He's human. He's not God. He's not Jesus himself. And so I just find him very interesting. The fact that, you know, he put spies in the Catholic Church to find the modernists, like undercover, almost like Project Veritas with James O'Keefe. Like he would fit in with today's society perfectly. So he had like his undercover spies ratting on all these like modernists. And he said liberal Catholics are wolves in sheep's clothing. I mean, I get along with traditional liberals, but leftists, I don't. And I'm not a right-winger either. I'm more conservative. I have a couple of liberal ideologies. You know, I feel sorry for people. I have a little bit of a bleeding heart sometimes. But I'm not like, for example, like the Pope. The current Pope says, he says, let the all I was gonna say something. I would have got canceled from you guys. Let all of the immigrants, come, the migrants or the newcomers, come to America, come, millions. You got to let them in. Oh, these are poor people. You got to give them a new life, a happier life. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to pay my tax money so they can get a shiny new pair of Nikes. You know, you may say, it's not very Catholic of you. It's not very Christian of you. But here's the deal. All right, there's a deal. When 20 million, they say only 6 million are here. There's at least 17 to 20 million, and they didn't come with 2 nickels in their pockets. Now, Jesus once said, well, I'm not going to get it correct exactly. Give a man a fish, he'll be begging for more. Teach a man to fish, and he'll eat for life. Okay, so when millions and millions of people come into the country without the 2 nickels in their pocket, what's going to happen? They're going to take my tax money, your tax money. We're broke as it is. Our own citizens and veterans are in the street. They can hardly even afford food because of the cost of inflation. And he wants us to take millions of poor people and without housing for them, without medical, without all the things that poor people need. Okay, not cool. All right, whatever. So that's my view. I don't know. You might have a different view. You might say, take them all in. Oh, and I'll bring them in my own home, and I'll take care of them. Okay, listen. How come here? All right. I know this is going to get controversial to devout Catholics watching this, but why don't the Pope take them into the Vatican? That's got a wall. Yes, the Vatican's got a wall, and he ain't opening those gates. Only the people that work in the Vatican can stay in Vatican City. Oh, that wall is there. He's not opening it to the millions of the poor people and newcomers that are looking for a better way of life. And yeah, all right, I better end this video. So that's my buy on eBay. I don't know. That's it. I'm done with the video. I'm 86ing this. Thanks for watching. Please don't cancel me. I love you all. I'm not a right-wing lunatic whack job. I'm just a person with logic. So, well, sometimes I have logic. I am an emotional thinker. But that's it. That's it for this video. I'm out of here. I'm probably gonna get canceled.